Sugaring versus Brazilian wax. Which hurts more? I got them both to find out. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you guys and tell you all about the pain, the process, and if there is any difference between the two. Hi everyone. Welcome back. If you're new here, welcome. Come for the beauty, stay because we're about to get real, raw, and painful. Literally. So this was a highly requested video. I did a poll asking you guys if you wanted me to try sugaring or a Brazilian wax. And a huge majority of you said sugar and wax. And let me tell you, I have no idea what I got myself into. But here we are today. So a little background on my hair removal history. I have always shaved my bikini area and my underarms. That's just what I've always done. Tried waxing years ago and it hurt like a bitch. And then I found laser hair removal. And that was a game changer for me, because it was less painful and it worked really well. But unfortunately, laser hair removal doesn't work for everyone. And in fact, some areas of the body respond better to other methods than laser. So that's why I decided to try sugaring today. I actually have never tried it before. Like I said, I've only ever waxed and lased. But before I go further, I do want to say this video is not sponsored at all. I paid out of pocket for both of these services, and I'll also leave all the information below in case you live near the area and want to check them out. Okay, so here's the deal. If you want to do sugaring or waxing at home, you can, but there are definitely pros and cons to each. First of all, you will need to invest in either hard or soft wax and sugar. So if you decide to do soft wax, it is going to come in these big tubs, and it is going to be similar to the wax that you would get professionally. Soft wax needs to be heated up, and it's typically used for larger areas like your legs. It needs to be applied in the direction of hair growth and then ripped off against the direction of hair growth. With hard wax, it is a little bit different because it is specifically designed to be applied against the direction of hair growth, and then it hardens and you just peel it off. You can use this for smaller areas like your underarms and your bikini line. As for sugaring, you'll need to buy sugar and lemon and maybe some water and mix it yourself and heat it up in a double boiler. Then you apply it and wait for it to harden, and then you peel it off. Again, it's a little bit different depending on the area you're treating. This one's actually pretty similar to hard wax. And if you're interested in learning how to do it yourself, I did find a pretty good tutorial online, and I'll link it below. The thing is, if you decide to do this at home, you gonna be spending money on wax or sugar, and then you also gonna be buying disposable razors or getting a new sharp blade. Wax strips, aftercare products, maybe even an iron to warm up the wax. Whereas if you go to a salon, you're just paying for the service itself. And they already have everything that they need. The only thing you would really need to buy afterwards is more razors or a new blade and aftercare products. But of course, if you go to the Salongo, they probably sell those things too. Plus, you run the risk of burning yourself or ripping off too much skin or hair, like I did in college, when I was trying to wax my own eyebrows. I mean, I had an eyebrow pencil for a reason. Anyway, I digress. Getting straight to the point, how painful is well, I'm happy to report that it's actually not that bad. I think what makes it a little bit less painful than waxing is that you apply the sugar while it is still warm, and then you wait until it cools down and hardens, and then you remove it. So you want to have to wait for the sugar to be hot and then rip the strip off immediately like you do with waxing. There's a little bit more time for the skin to adjust, and I personally think that helps. I will say, though, that the sugar does stick to your skin a lot more than wax does. So if you have very sensitive skin or lots of dry patches, it might be a little more uncomfortable to remove. But I personally didn't have any issues, and neither did my sister. She tried it with me. Now, on to the most important part, which is, does sugaring remove hair as effectively as wax? And the answer is yes. In fact, I would say it probably removes just as much as waxing, if not more. When you're sugaring, you're only applying it to the top of the skin. So if you have longer hairs, you can take a pair of tweezers and pull them out from underneath. I showed you guys this in my last hair removal video, but the hairs grow in different directions. So if you wax over them, some of them aren't going to be caught in the wax. However, with sugaring, since you're only applying it to the surface of the skin, you can take those hairs that were missed and just grab them with tweezers. So if you want a super clean result, sugaring is definitely the way to go. The next question I get asked a lot is, does sugaring give you a cleaner finish than waxing? So this is something I was curious about, which is why I decided to try them both within a week of each other. I went to European Wax Center on February, and I went to Glow on February to try sugar. I saw the same esthetician both times. I told her I was filming a video and asked if she could let me film her doing the treatments so I could show you guys what the process looks like. She was totally cool with it. And it ended up being really helpful. Thank you again. Here's what the space looked like. They were both pretty similar in terms of setup. Here's what the bikini area looked like right after sugaring. I was actually really impressed. It looked so clean and smooth. And then here's what it looked like after the Brazilian wax. To be honest, I couldn't see a huge difference between the two. They both looked great! So now that we've covered the process, the pain, and the results, let's talk about the cost. A Brazilian wax at European Wax Center costs $35 and a sugar wax costs $45. So I guess in terms of effectiveness and price, they're pretty similar. Now here comes the big question. Which one hurts more? So this was a tough one to answer because they both kind of hurt. What I thought was interesting is that the wax was more painful at the beginning when it was applied, and the sugar was more painful towards the end when it was removed. I would say overall they felt about the same in terms of pain. The sugar was a little bit more uncomfortable, but it wasn't horrible by any means. Neither of them were better than the other. They both hurt equally. Now here's the kicker. I'm not sure if this happens to everyone, but after the sugar, I noticed that there were a ton of small red bumps around my labia that weren't there before. Now, I'm not sure if this is normal, but it happened to me both times. I assume it's because the sugar sticks to your skin more than wax. And since my skin is a little bit more sensitive down there, it reacts by creating these small red bumps. I am not sure if this is normal, and if it is something that goes away on its own. So if anyone knows, please let me know in the comments. I should also mention that I've never had these red bumps occur after a wax, so maybe it's just something that happens with sugaring. But again, I'm not sure. These lasted for about 2 days and then went away on their own.
Okay, so after all of this testing, I would say that they both work pretty well.
They're equally effective and they both hurt like a bitch. I think the biggest difference is that the sugar lasts a little bit longer. Since it's applied to the surface of the skin, you can pick up those straggler hairs that are missed during the application. But if you reach someone who wants a quick treatment and does unmind a few straggler hairs here and there, then waxing is just as effective and it's cheaper. If you want to learn more about Brazilian waxing, watch this video next. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.